Hello YouTube, मैं हूं आप सबका दोस्त और host Ali and I heartily welcome you all to the very first video of the series where we will be learning Python programming language. We'll be going from absolute zero to ultimate hero level of Python programming. So the one who knows Python programming or the one who is good at Python programming, that person is known as a Pythonista. So are you guys ready to join the journey of becoming Pythonista with me? If yes, then I request you all to click the subscribe button and click the bell icon to stay connected to the journey of becoming Pythonista. So now, without wasting any further time, let's get into the video. So before we actually get into Python programming, today we are going to see what is a code, what is an interpreter, what is a high level language, what is a low level language, why do we use coding language. So let's get into the screen. Now to understand what is a code, let's take two examples. Now we human beings, we interact with each other. We talk to each other in a specific language. For example, here this guy in green t-shirt is asking, "Hey bro, how are you?" And the guy in orange t-shirt is replying, "I'm fine, what about you?" Now these both kids are talking to each other in a specific language and that language is English. Now we human beings are interacting with each other in a specific language. We interact with either in Hindi or English or Telugu or Tamil or any other language. But what if you want to communicate with a computer? What if you want to communicate with a machine? So if I go and sit in front of the computer and I say, "Hey buddy, how are you?" then the computer is not going to understand. It's because computer has its own language and that language is zeros and ones. If I go in front of computer and I say 0 1 0 1 1 1, some string of some zeros and ones, then the computer is going to understand because zeros and ones is the language of the computer. So now why the language of computer is binary, that is zeros and ones? Why it's not 0 1 or 2 या फिर 0 1 2 3 या फिर 0 1 2 4? Why it is only in zeros and ones? Well, every machine will have two states. It can either be on or it can be off. Okay, so when the machine is off, it is 0, and when the machine is on, it is 1. Let's take example of a tube light. A tube light can either be on or it can be off. It can't be half on and half off, right? So that is why it can't be 0 1 2 0 1 2 3. It can be either 0 or it can be either 1. Let's take example of the soldiers of the World War. They used to communicate with each other through torchlight. Like if they give 2 blinks, then they are saying something. If they are giving 3 blinks, then they are saying something. And if they are giving 1 blink, 1 stop, then 2 blinks, then they are giving something. So the state of the torch was either on or off. Now whatever the blinks that they were giving, that blink was the data. Now similarly, the computer is also a machine, and a machine will have only two states. It can either be on or it can be off. Like the soldiers were communicating with each other through this machine called torch, we humans communicate with computer with zeros and ones. So what computer does? Computer transfers, it takes and it gives the data zeros and ones. The only difference between that torch that soldiers used and the computer is Morse code that was being sent by the soldiers were in a slow, like it was, the blinks were slow, but the computer will give the instructions very fastly. It will be 0 1 0 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 0, etc, 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 right? So this is how the computer communicates. How can I communicate with the computer in zeros and ones? Like if I want to perform simple mathematical calculations, it will take me hours. I can't understand zeros and ones. I can't understand because computer has thousands of switches. Now how can I understand? How can I talk to the computer in the same speed that computer is sharing the data? Well, to solve this problem, we have high level languages. Okay, so the zeros and ones is also known as a low level language. It is a computer language, and high level languages are something that are for us, that are human understandable language. So now to communicate with the computer, instead of communicating with low level language, we are using high level languages. So high level languages are something that are less complicated than low level language, and they are human understandable and human readable languages like Python, Java, C, C++. These are all the languages that comes under high level languages. So now how are we communicating to computer with high level languages when the computer is low level language? So here to communicate with the computer, we will be using compiler. So now what is a compiler? Now to understand what is a compiler, let's take a very small example. Let's say you went to Japan for a vacation and you went to a shop and you want to purchase something, you want to purchase a product. But the problem is the shopkeeper knows Japanese and you know English. Both of you can't communicate with each other because you don't know each other's languages. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna go out, you're gonna pick a translator, a person who knows Japanese and Hindi both. So you are gonna bring that guy to the shop. Now you will use that guy to communicate with the shop. Yani if you know Hindi, you will say something in Hindi to that guy, the translator, and the translator will translate it and it will communicate with the shopkeeper. Then it will take the input from shopkeeper in Japanese and it will give you the output in Hindi. So this is what compiler does. What compiler does, compiler converts high level language into low level language and low level language into high level language. So this is how we communicate with the computer. So from the very next video, we are going to start learning a very popular high level language called Python. So that's it for today. Meet you in the next class. Goodbye.